Hello, good evening. Welcome to Dave's Tackle Box. It's Sunday, the 30th of December 2012, and it's a little bit after 9 o'clock. There'll be a number of you who would have liked to have watched this live, who will probably be watching this on the replay, and I can only apologise. Just before, well, at about 8:30, 30 minutes before we were due to go live, we started experiencing a number of DNS errors with the Vapor Trails TV website. We have now got to the bottom of that and resolved those problems, but anybody that knows anything about DNS will know it could be as much as a couple of days before all changes are propagated and everything's working properly again. So I do apologise if you were trying to watch this and missed it. Those of you who are watching it live will be watching directly through the Justin TV website, and I can see that quite a few of you have made it. So I appreciate that, and thanks for your patience and persistence. I'm not sure if we've got a chat facility during during the first VT that I'm going to show tonight. I will have a look and see if we can get some kind of chat facility going. The chat roll feature is still running. I will try and get that sort of message to you so you can join in and do a bit of chat as we go along. But anyway, so yes, so a great way to start the show with an apology for technical problems. Well, that's okay. We're going to plod on regardless, in true Vapor Trails TV style. In a little while, in about sort of, I don't know, 15-20 minutes or so, I'm going to be joined by a very special guest. Somebody who you'll know, but has never been on Dave's Tackle Box before, which I didn't realise until earlier when we were setting this up. But it will be a first for this person. So I'm really looking forward to having them on the show. But before we get to that, I mean, the whole theme of tonight's show is just like, let's be honest, every TV station and every sort of serial TV program has some kind of annual review show at the end of the year, and I'm no exception. So what I've done is I've been back through the year of 2012 and fished out some of the highlights. The amount of stuff that we've done on Dave's Tackle Box was actually astounding when I went looking through. But I fished out some highlights and edited them together and done a kind of narrative, a sort of director's commentary, if you like. And as I say, we're going to be joined in a little while by somebody, and we're going to reminisce a little bit more. And so this is definitely a show to kick back, relax, and enjoy a trip down memory lane. I should just mention as well that you'll notice that there's no green screen tonight. See, I'm in the middle of fixing my office and studio, and the green screen isn't available to go back up yet, but it will be for next week. So here we are, au natural, warts and all, camera equipment everywhere. I'm working in a space that's about 2 feet square, and there's stuff all around me everywhere. So, but the good news is it does seem to be working at least. So let's crack on. Let's start with the first VT. So I'm calling this the 2012 review of Dave's Tackle Box, and here's part 1, and I'll see you after this. Well, here we are. Welcome to the Dave's Tackle Box review of 2012, where we'll be going back through some of the things that we did on the show in 2012, and this is like, think of it like the director's cut, you know, the extra bits that you get on those DVD box sets that nobody ever listens to. Clearly January got off to a bit of a slow start then. For some reason I thought it was a good idea to film tidying up my desk and clearing out the tackle box a bit. So everything got sorted into piles there. I saw some disposables and juice and batteries and, oh look, Ego Cone. Remember them? Yeah, there are some various assorted mods and box mods and some little drawers that I bought to put my drip tips and atomizers and stuff in, and there's some other stuff, and oh wow. Yeah, it needed it. There's DIY mixing gear there, all nicely organised and put in a box, which I don't think I've opened since, frankly. But eventually, everything got whipped into shape and the tackle box looked a bit tidier there, look. I think I even managed to get it into a state where I could close it. Juice. Most of it past its sell-by date, probably. But we got there. Later on in the month, I had a look at the Cyan Mods Carto Punch, which you may recall was about the first one to appear that was purpose designed for bodging holes in cartomisers. I took that out to Germany with me. It stayed there all year. It came home last week with me. It served me very well in that time. Very useful piece of kit. Still use it. February kicked off with a look at the humble drip tip, a sort of beginner's guide to drip tips. Not like a subject that you can go into too much detail on, but I did my best. People still ask what drip tips are for, if they've been used to smoking cigar-like things from the mal vendors and what have you. And so we get that little bit of coverage. It was also an excuse to show off some new drip tips that I've got. Ah, yeah, the icon. My favourite mod that has had just about everything replaced. All that actually remains from this mod now is the actual tube that the battery goes into. The entire switch mechanism and the top cap have been replaced and upgraded. Still a cracking little mod. It's gorgeous, doesn't it? The Touchwood. Picked it up at Vape Fest in October 2011 and was using it mostly for dripping. I had an IO6 atomizer and various 306s on it, was dripping. And the Touchwood, it has to be said, is not the best mod for dripping. There are many what we would call ingress points for juice, and I managed to fill it up. So I decided to take it apart. Based on a tip on the UK Vapors forum, I got the screwdriver in there, gave it the once over, got the brasso out. Looks like new. For some reason in February, the postman decided he was going to mess me around as much as he possibly could. Oh, come on, get out of the way. Oh, come on, get out of the way. Oh, for sake. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. How the did you get a license? Beware the Ides of March. Whatever that means. March was a big month. March was World Vaping Day. I think it was the 18th of March, and we did the big telethon thing, and we linked up with the guys in the US to cover it. It was great fun. I remember broadcasting on my iPad from the lounge at Munich Airport, and as part of that we were sent a load of Janty Neo Classic kits. They coincided the launch of the Neo with World Vaping Day. We ran a few competitions, including this caption competition. And I think it was Worm and Put that won a Neo Classic kit there, and we gave them away on the Vaping show, and I gave one away as well, and it was a bit of a bonanza. It was great fun as well. I think Dave Dawn slept for a week after that. But there were more serious things going on in March, as it became clear that British American Tobacco had entered the electronic cigarette market by setting up a company called Nico Ventures. And sort of simultaneously the news was breaking that e-cig was seeking an MA from the MHRA, a marketing authorisation to class their product as a medicine. So we ran this little piece just to raise awareness really, and here we are in December, and now we know that those two stories were really one story. March also saw me actually entering well, I joined 2011 as in March 2012 and got myself a Pravari. Picked it up off the classifieds. Rather glad I did. Still serving me very well now. It's a good toy. I also ran a piece about dodgy chargers and possible counterfeit chargers. I've noticed that some of these old Trustfire TR001 chargers seem to have accumulated a lot. We're playing up. And I also took a look at these metal tanks from Cyan Mods. April was a really busy month on the VT front. We started off with a look at the matchless products. There was a reworking of the original disposable, which wicks a bit better and worked really well, I thought. But also they'd done a rechargeable product for the first time, so we put that through its paces. At some point in April we had a look at the Vapes 801 Fusion Cartomizer, which I ended up sticking on a GGTS. Worked rather well. And on the subject of telescopic mods, the Galileo. I still think this is a wonderful mod. I still have it here. For some reason I don't seem to use it very much. I think it might be a little bit too faffy. I don't know, I might part with that one soon. There was the GSV DCA drip cup adapter, designed to stop happening what happened to my Touchwood. It helped as well. I remember this thing. This was the Dremel Speed Click. If you prefer to slot your cartomizers for use in tanks rather than punch them, this is a really useful little system with a disc that just clicks on and off. Worked really well. There you go, look, there's a nice slot. The Easter bank holiday weekend saw me taking off to Turkey for a few days away, which was rather nice. I took the Pravari with me. VTTV was rumoured to be banned in Turkey because of their rules on electronic cigarettes, but I drank beer. I drank beer and vaped by the pool without anybody even challenging me. And I think you can see I wasn't being too covert about it. I'd looked everywhere for brass strip tips, and in April, 2 viewers sent me 3. And then of course there was the Brit Vapes LAVATUBE mod, well under 20 quid, variable voltage mod. Just a wonderful thing, cheap, plasticky, works, still use it from time to time, rather good. And there was still time at the end of April for me to do a little VT, showing how I put a VT together, which was kind of trippy, especially this scene coming up. Editing this was marvellous, I tell you. It was supposed to encourage people to put their names forward to join Vapor Trails TV production team. It might have had the opposite effect. In May I was joined by a guy who'd become a good friend at this stage, a guy called Dougie, who had been doing YouTube reviews and caught my eye. And we set up a format where we would both do a review with our own opinions of a product or a subject. You saw the Cyan Mods Precision Drip Tip for the Vapes A06 there, and now Dougie's looking at the VV Nova. And swap notes and discuss what each of us liked and disliked about a product, and that worked reasonably well actually. We did a few more of those in the months to come. In May we did the Precision Drip Tip there and the VV Nova. But the big story in May was definitely the Midlands mini meet. It was a big story for me because I organised it. And the 19th of May saw us all descend upon the Castle Hotel in Tamworth, the vaping capital of the world, which coincidentally is just down the road from me. And I think we had just shy of 80 people in there in the end. You can see many of them there. Some people watching this will recognise themselves, I hope. And we had a relaxed day. Decadent Vapors brought along a load of stuff, set up their juice bar, and well, speaking personally, I think everybody had a great time, to be honest with you. Oh yes, and the mask, the Decadent Vapors mask, fantastic. When will I ever learn? I believe it was something menthol on this particular occasion, and it made my eyes water quite a lot. But if there's one thing I do enjoy about vaping, it's these community get-togethers, people sitting around, chewing their fat, swapping notes, and just generally having a good time. The Vision Ego Clearomizer, or the Stardust as it was known if you got it from certain places, made a big splash in 2012, and here's me taking a look at one of the derivatives, the CE4 Plus. It was okay. I still think there's wicking issues in all of them. Let's hope they iron them out. The Tripolitis tank from Kirfanis, the only cartomizer tank I've got that can be refilled without removing the cartomizer. Also looks rather nice on a Super T Precision Plus. Dougie and I compared the version 1 and version 2 VV Nova tanks, and we also went on to have a talk about why we switched to vaping. That's a subject guaranteed to get most vapors animated, and I'm no exception. Look, I am waving my arms around. Dougie took a look at the AIO PCC kit, which he was a big fan of. I know he carried that around with him for a while, and my big news of June 2012 was the Pure Smoker Legacy. For anybody who loves the Icon and the Prodigy like I do, the Legacy was the logical next step. So that's January to June. Stay tuned, see what happens next. And there you go, that was the first half of 2012, sort of condensed down. It was amazing. In 40 something shows there were like 100 VTs and various other things, and going back through those, some of them seemed like yesterday and some of them seemed like years ago. It was weird. So but trust me, that really all did happen in 2012. I've got like the second part, which will come as no surprise. That's July to December to come. But first we're going to take a break, and immediately after that break we're going to meet my special guest. See you in a couple of minutes.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And good evening, eventually. Took a little while to get things wound up and ready to go then, didn't it? But I'm here now, so welcome to Dave's Tackle Box on Sunday.
So there we go, I'm back in the room and not long to go now. So yeah, I was talking with my son, and he's watched me make things before.
And a very good evening to you. It is Tuesday the 20th of November 2012 and you are tuned into Vaping
At Vaping TV Towers. Tonight being Wednesday night, it is time for the one and only chat show programme called VT Talk.
Tis the Haze Hour. Again, Keith was just saying if it wasn't for the titles, he wouldn't come and do the show. He loves them so much, don't you?
Oh,
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
Right, and I'm hoping we've got some audio there. I'm sure we do. I can see the little green light thingies flickering. So somebody in chat will tell us, because there are actually people in chat now, because that bit of the DNS problem seems to have resolved itself, and there's 20 people in there, which is like quite surprising given the way we got to where we are.
It's amazing.
Yes, I've got a "You're Fine, Dave" from Skype. It came, which is good enough for me. And you are my special guest. So this is this. I think I'm right. You've never been on Dave's Tackle Box before, have you?
No, I've never ever been on Dave's Tackle Box.
Which is a situation I can't see how we let that situation arise. Frankly,
No.
So well, anyway, make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home.
I will.
You look quite at home, actually. Probably because you are.
I am, yes.
And yeah, you'll notice when you watch the playback that we've gone to no effort or expense here in terms of shots. There's junk and stuff behind me, and I suppose I could have put a little board around it, but we were playing with DNS when we were going to set this shot up, so that's my excuse. But anyway, I've invited you along tonight because the subject of tonight's show is 2012. Yeah, and I know we were chatting earlier and about, and that's the first thing that goes through your mind, isn't it? Well, what actually happened? What did we do in 2012? But so let me put you on the spot then. Tell me your best vaping things from 2012. What was good?
The best thing that I discovered in 2012, and it's a recent discovery, and that's these dual coil vision things.
Oh, right. Okay. I haven't seen those.
They're from Anakin, and oh my god, I love them.
What's good about them?
They give you that extra punch that a dual coil used to give, but they don't kill the flavour.
That sounds quite interesting.
Just really nice.
I might see if I can pick me one of those up.
Definitely, and that's just a recent discovery, but I discovered them and I've been using them ever since.
Is that the MVP you've got it on?
Yes, it's in its little hoodie.
I was just going to say, why have you got a cloth around it? Does something leak?
It lives in a hoodie because it gets cold.
That's pretty ace, actually.
So yeah,
because I want one of those as well. I'm going to get myself one of those, an MVP.
The MVP is brilliant.
Because they're about 50 quid, aren't they, or something?
Yeah, 50 quid, and it goes everywhere with me.
So that would be another one of your pluses from 2012 then, I guess.
Yeah, that would be the second one, is the MVP, which I discovered, funnily enough, at the same time, because the dual coils came with it. And it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
I mean, you'll know I'm not a huge box mod fan, but that thing, I think it looks... I like it. I like it.
It's smart, it's easy to use. I mean, I can figure it out, so... And for me,
You're not
it's got
kidding
USB
me.
charger.
You're not kidding me with the I can figure it out stuff. You're like your mother.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do complicated. Re-wicking things ahead of everybody else. And
simpler the better for me, which is why USB charged, perfect. Only got 3 buttons to push, works, not at all complicated. Love it.
Fair enough. Well, I should add then, I should mention then the things that I found to be the best things of 2012. And the absolute single most best thing that had the biggest impact on me in 2012 is 45 milligram juice. When John at Flavour Art UK sent that stuff along, he said, I'll send you some 45 milligram juice. And my initial reaction was, don't bother, that's stupid. But he did, and I tried it. And it completely changed the way I vape. I mean, I don't know whether you remember. I don't know whether you can see at the moment, but I'm holding up something with one of those big dual coil cartomizers, the ones with the big rubber tips.
Yeah.
I was using one of those in an Ego pretty much from June last year when I started that contract in Germany until John sent me that stuff, which was March, April time. And straight away I stopped using these things and was using smaller devices. So when the Ellipse came along, which only holds like 1.5 mil of juice, and the battery, like when I'm using like 24 milligram juice or 25 if I'm using the Vermilion River stuff, right, one of those batteries would just last me a couple of hours, 3 hours if I was lucky. But because that 45 milligram juice is so strong, 1.5 mil of juice and a battery was lasting me nearly all day. You know, certainly until I got to the hotel room and could switch them. With another one in the PCC and a spare tank, I was covered for a whole day's vaping on a tiny little batteries. So that's definitely my number one. Definitely.
Yeah.
Other things that are still being used regularly and are way up there on near the top of good things from 2012 are the Fagatti. I love this thing. I know it's taken some stick. Some people have said it's not what it purports to be and everything. I love it, and I'm inseparable from it. I mean, look at it, it's just gorgeous. And the mod that I've got it sat on, which I've only had about a month or something, probably a bit less. This chameleon thing. Did you see one of those?
Oh
Chameleon.
yeah, I think they're fab.
I think so too, because I saw one at Vape Fest in 2011. No, 2012. It was 2012. I saw one at Vape Fest in Tamworth, and it wasn't actually for sale. But I poured it a bit, and I thought, yeah, it looks all right, but I didn't think it was anything special. And I picked this one up just because it might go with the Fagatti, and it's brilliant. Love it, absolutely love it. So those would be the highlights for me. But the real interesting stuff when you're talking about these things, anyway, you know, what was rubbish? What didn't you like that you tried or came out in 2012?
I think the thing I didn't like, or that I was most disappointed by, was probably the Raptor tank.
Yeah?
I think so. Just because, I mean, obviously I can only judge it on the one I had, but I had a lot of leaking issues with that, and I found that a bit annoying and disheartening.
Well,
it was great if I used it on the gooseneck.
Right.
But if I was using it on a device where it was sitting right on top of it, I was always worried it was going to leak into the battery. Which was a disappointment.
That's interesting, because I got a couple of Raptor tanks, and they were okay. I didn't have any problems with leaking, I don't think. I seem to remember the first one, I did have some problems with leaking, but once I'd taken it apart and made sure everything was put together right again, I didn't have any problems after that. But I have to say, I did hear some other people saying they'd had some problems with leaks as well. So, because there was talk of, I've actually got one, actually. It's a good thing about not having the green screen effect. I can lean in any direction without wondering what's going to happen. But I got one here, and it's got like some dregs of juice in it that have been there for a while. Actually, it looks a bit evil, actually, but it hasn't leaked. It hasn't leaked.
Well, I do have to say, I was sent a new version of the Raptor tank, which, compared to the original one, I had massive improvement.
Right.
But I think the reason it was the biggest disappointment for me is I put the last of my favourite juice in it, and it leaked it all. And I couldn't get any more of it.
Right. What juice was that?
That was Serenity from Raw Vapor. And I got it at the Midlands Mini Meet, and I was so disappointed.
Did you get it off Mr. Sutton by any chance?
I did, yes.
Yes. Yes, I noticed Liberty Flights have started selling raw now. Have you tried that?
They have. I'm going to get on to Liberty Flights and say, please, please, please get some Serenity and add it to your range. Because I love that.
That sounds good. So anything else then that you thought was a bit of a letdown in 2012? Or?
I suppose the biggest letdown was actually myself and my re-wicking skills.
You were a big disappointment, were you?
I was severely disappointed in myself.
You know what I'm going to say is practice. Practice makes perfect with re-wicking.
Yes.
Well, so I'm told, because I
gonna
don't
do
claim
this.
to be anywhere near close to perfect, like, but I'm told that practice makes perfect.
I've decided for next year I am going to master re-wicking something.
Your New Year's resolution.
Yes,
You're going to make a Genesis Atty that works.
I am. May take me up until this show next year to do it, but I will do it.
That's fair enough. I mean, because Genesis Atties, they've really kicked on this year, haven't they? And I listed the Fagatti as one of my favourite things. I mean, I've got 3 Jennies now. I've got the NGP hybrid, which features in the video coming up, the one I keep melting. And I've got this Orion thing, but I don't use the Orion too much. And since I got the Fagatti, I don't touch the Orion, to be honest with you. It might be something else that I'm moving along fairly soon, because it's quite an expensive paperweight at the moment. I think in terms of disappointment myself, it's got to be the VV Nova for me. Because the VV Nova, for me, it's the new CE2. Do you remember when CE2s came out and some people said they were wonderful? And I've maintained all along that they were wrong. The VV Nova is the new CE2. I just don't get it. They're leaky, taste stripping, throat it, avoiding devices. I've got a few of them lying around, and as I clean up my office, I'll be going in the bin. That one looks particularly horrible, actually.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Set? Ooh, that's horrible.
Oh dear, that is a bit.
That was very manky indeed. I'm not touching that again without gloves. But
I never had one that leaked, but the flavour stripping on them was horrendous.
They were just. I just couldn't understand the hype on them, to be honest with you.
No, I didn't.
The other thing I'm going to mention that was a disappointment to me as well, and it's not a terrible product, okay? Because I'm going to get some flack for this. I know I am, but that doesn't normally stop me. Tonight's no exception. The SDK, the mini screwdriver. The battery itself is just a battery, so you can't be too critical of that. It worked, and as auto switches go, it seemed quite good, to be honest with you. But the cartomizer that was being shipped with it was just naff. I don't know if anybody else agreed, but I thought that was overrated. Now, that said, I've got one of the big ones now, and I've been using that the last week, and that seems that what they're shipping it with seems a bit better, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that was a disappointment to me, because everybody was buzzing about it, and I got one and I thought, that's a bit naff, that. So I've given a few of them away, actually.
Yeah, I think I gave mine away as well.
Seemed to be the best thing to do with them. But no, I mean, there were, in terms of that's equipment and hardware and stuff. But in terms of good things in 2012, I don't think I've ever done so many miles going to vape meets, and I probably never will again. It's been a bit mental. I mean, all together, I did over 100 flights in 2012, and 2 of those were to Dublin and back for a vape meet.
Yeah, I would have loved to have done that.
That was great fun, and I mean, it's hard to plan that far ahead, but if there is one next year, I'd definitely recommend a few people to come along and make a day of it. It was good. It was a long day trip. It was brilliant. Yeah.
I have to agree there. I mean, I've only attended 2 meets this year, but they were both fabulous.
They were both fabulous, and especially Rattlergate.
Rattlergate was interesting.
You won't be surprised to hear that does feature in the second half of my VT.
I'm glad to hear it.
You couldn't do a review of 2012 and leave that out, really, could you?
No, definitely not.
Well, Sav, time has flown by on us.
Wow,
Doesn't it always just do that? We need to go into the second break. Can I say thank you very much for finally joining me on Dave's Tackle Box? It's brilliant, and we won't leave it as long next time, I promise.
No, it has been a pleasure.
Because you know, we always have a natter off air. We don't do it on air anywhere near as much as we should. So thanks ever so much for joining me. We're going to take a break now, and I'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
The GG, because you want one.
iVaper and iVaper Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's iVaper.co.uk and iVaper-elixir.co.uk. iVaper and iVaper-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of VaporTrails.tv.
If you can't watch our shows live, try some of these. Go to YouTube at youtube.com/user/VaporTrailsTV and you can subscribe there. All of our shows are uploaded as soon as possible after they've gone out live. Enjoy watching it on YouTube, lots of people do. Alternatively, go to Google and type in podcast VaporTrails.tv and iTunes. Click on the link and that will take you to a page that shows you the Vapor Trails TV podcast. View it in iTunes, and when you get to iTunes, don't forget to click on subscribe free, and each of the shows will be downloaded to your hard drive as soon as they come out. Or you can use video on demand. Go to www.vaportrails.tv, click on vPlayer, pick the show you want to watch, in this case it's the Haze Hour, and then you can pick the episode that you want to watch from every one that we've ever done. They're all there. Under normal circumstances, you'll watch it at 360p, which means everybody can see it. It'll go full screen. You can do whatever you want with it. So there you go, 3 ways that you can watch VaporTrails.tv. Subscribe and enjoy. Thanks.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And there you go. That was how cool is Sav. I must get her on the show more often. Right, we're going to carry on now with the VT that I made, which is going to cover from July to now, to December-ish. So we'll do that. This one's slightly longer than the other one. Some good stuff in here. I'll see you at the end of this. So here we go with part 2 of the Dave's Tackle Box review of 2012. In July, sort of 10 minutes after the release of the Vision Ego Clearomizer, came the version 2 Vision Ego Clearomizer, which tends to be the way at the moment. Version 1, then tomorrow version 2, and then version 3 the day after that. But there was some good stuff too. This is the Raptor tank from vaporworld.co.uk. I'm comparing it there to an Ego Clearomizer. Quite good, the Raptor tanks, liked them. Took them on holiday with me in the summer, and they served me very nicely. Huge things, about 6mm capacity, and rumours of a 10mm one on the way at the time I filmed it. I'm not sure if they ever materialised or not. Probably the biggest thing for me personally in 2012 that changed my vaping habits was 45mg juice. And Dougie and I did a sort of head-to-head review. We had differing views. 45mg, quite strong. Dougie thought a little bit too strong and had some concerns about the potency of it. Myself, I've gone on record a number of times now that says it's changed my vaping habits completely. Been an absolute fantastic discovery for me. In August, having waited for quite some time and failing to pull my finger out and get replacement bits for the parts that were defective on the Totally Wicked Odyssey, I eventually filmed a review on it, which I tried to keep as balanced as I could. Inevitably it attracted a fair amount of criticism from people who politically thought that we shouldn't be covering Totally Wicked products, but as I said at the time, and I'll repeat now to avoid any confusion whatsoever, I wasn't reviewing the company, I was reviewing the product, and I stand by what I said. Now here's Dougie with his matching curtains and cushions, reviewing the VV Mini Nova. That was another double header we did. Again, he kind of liked it, and I kind of didn't, if I remember rightly. The main thing that happened in August though has to be VapeFest 2012, which was held at the Moat House in Tamworth. A few little pictures for you to enjoy from there. The original idea was I was going to do loads of interviews and all the rest of it, but basically I spent most of the day drinking with Dougie, and considering myself fortunate with the footage that I'd got when I got home. It was a massive event, absolutely massive. Something in the region of 1,000 visitors, lots of vendors there. I met this guy from Brit Vapes, whose name escapes me at the moment. He was a nice guy, he gave me that mod. I gave it away on the show quite recently. Prof Beard, perennial vaping celebrity, and one of my heroes, Liz from Vaping Point, had a cracking chat. Unfortunately the audio was no good when I got home, so all I could do was show this little picture, so I'll get it next time. But the main thing about VapeFest, as always, is having a drink and having a laugh with your friends. And here's me, Dougie and Daz larking around with some juice, and well, I'll let Dougie have the final word or action on this little sequence. As you can see, we were having a great time. September saw me getting on a plane to Ireland, well, with Ryanair, so no expense gone to, where I met Dave Dawn at Dublin Airport, and we shared a car on our way down to the Abbey Leaks Manor Hotel. We were going to VapeFest Ireland, and it was great. It was a lovely event, superbly well organised, really well attended, lots of Irish vendors there. There's Cass and Gordy. We had a great time. That's Shane, that is. There was a guy there selling NGP mods and showing people how to do Genesis atomizer re-wicking in a workshop, which was fun. And I met this guy, Scott from Vaporcast in the US. What a lovely bloke he was. He was sort of on his honeymoon as well. I got a chance to talk to Shane, who I'd met at VapeFest UK a few weeks before. Really nice guy and really did a cracking job. Unfortunately, we could only stay the day and had to disappear. On the way there though, I picked up these smokeless similar things, and frankly, they're absolute rubbish. A complete pile of... I eventually got around to filming a review of the Bosk wooden mod. That's the one that you saw a bit earlier, that I was given by Brit Vapes at VapeFest UK. Lovely mod, really was a lovely mod. I subsequently gave it away on this show because basically I've already got wooden mods and it was surplus to requirements. But it worked really well. September also saw me getting a little bit creative, with piles of drip tips and tanks and various 510 devices rolling around on my desk, literally leaking juice everywhere. I decided it was time to do something about it. So I headed down to the garage, cleared a little bit of space for the workmate, got the drill out and made myself a little stand for all my gear. Didn't take me long, really easy to do. Helps if you've got the right tools, of course. Little bit of elbow grease there to get the finish right, and dropped a bit of stain on it, and this was the finished product. Gorgeous. Now, while I was at Vapefest Ireland, I bumped into a guy called Alex, who runs a company called OVALIIsland.com, and he gave me one of these things. This is an ellipse kit, and what you can see me there is doing a review for it, which I'd intended to put onto YouTube and what have you. But as I was filming the review, I went looking for pricing information and everything and found out that it had actually been pulled. So I did actually screen this review on Dave's tackle box, but after that I had to wait basically until the replacement product, the e-cig, came out. That said, I still really like the ellipse. I like the e-cig too, and with the right juice, 45mg juice, not a bad little contraption. Now, another product that I bought at Vapefest Ireland and brought back with me didn't fare quite so well. This is the NGP hybrid, and it's got a touch sensitive switch, and I fell asleep with it. And it heated and heated and melted everything, and it all fell apart. So I filmed this little sequence of me trying to get it working again, using files and knives and a fair amount of super glue, and it did kind of work, but I'm very happy to report that after this sequence went out, a kind viewer, Julian, aka Worm1973, took pity on me, sort of saw my dilemma and the fact that I was using super glue, which probably isn't the safest thing to use in something that you inhale, and sent me a replacement top cap, which, believe me, works far more satisfactorily than my attempt to fix this one. So thanks for that, Julian. Thanks to you, I still have a working NGP. Sunday the 13th of October was a bit of a laugh. It was the Knees Up, the North East Smokers vape meet, which had been organised at the Rattler restaurant in South Shields. So I drove up there, as did many other people, and we arrived, and the venue was lovely. It's on railway carriages, and there were people there, and we were having a laugh and having a drink, and everything was going really well, the way that vape meets tend to do. We were sort of swapping stories, trying each other's juices and all the rest of it, and then all of a sudden this bloke appeared. I think he said he was the manager, but you know, he was a bit of a job's worth, and basically he didn't like the idea that we were vaping in his restaurant, despite the fact that we'd booked the room and made them fully aware of what we were doing. He decided that he didn't want it anymore. Maybe a couple of his customers had complained, we don't know. But anyway, he came over and he gave us grief and said we had to be out by a certain time, and we were wondering what we were going to do. He went away and then he came back.
I have no written evidence. I have no phone call evidence about anything that it's been told that is booked for the rest of the night. If it's booked for the rest of the night, this would be a contact event planned to go to our... This is just a schedule between them. So I get the door closed. Where else do we get?
So off we went. We left the Rattler. We walked up the seafront a bit to the next pub along the way, which was called the Sundial, which is one of the Hungry Horse chain, and they were great. I went ahead and just checked they had no problem with us coming in there and vaping, but they did a lot of trade with us that day. They were great. We may very well go back there in the future. So Stuff the Rattler, thumbs up for the Sundial. Thanks very much for helping us out in our hour of need. During my last show of October 2012, I put out a piece called The Elephant in the Room. This was a 15-minute summary of a concern that I've got with the hygiene standards of juice. Specifically, given that we could see in October, and we have confirmed now, that various authorities around Europe are doing their best to introduce regulation. Myself and a couple of members of the VTTV team had particular concerns that the number of people getting involved in producing electronic cigarettes, liquid, e-liquid, may not be following hygiene standards and may be providing ammunition to these authorities to help them get that regulation shoehorned in. The piece wasn't particularly groundbreaking, but it did raise awareness. It got a reaction. I had got contact from a number of vendors talking about subjects like insurance, so I reflect on that and think that it actually achieved what it set out to do, and that's a good thing. And so as we move into November, we move from elephants in the room to zebras. This is the Zebra electronic cigarette, which was sent to me to review for you guys. Yes, it's a cigar-like format, look-alikey format, but it doesn't really look alikey because it's patterned like a zebra. I thought it was quite cute actually, and I had a cold as well, and the menthol was quite useful. Yeah, so that's the Zebra. And to the complete opposite end of the spectrum now, we move to the eagerly awaited Fagati. I love this thing. This is possibly the best piece of vaping kit I own. I've currently got it coupled with a chameleon mod, and I'm really not using much else, to be honest with you. I took a bit of stick. I was accused of only saying I liked it because I got it for nothing to review and stuff like that, and you have to take that if you're a reviewer, I suppose, but I can honestly say that the person that accused me of that was talking out of their backside. This is a great atty. The other thing that happened in November, of course, was I won the auction for Gary Dibley's Stunt Wrench, and having won the auction, proceeds of which went to children in need, I did a short sequence showing what he sent me, and I've had a number of requests to show it again, so here you go. Soon after I got the Fugatti Type 22 atomizer, which is a 22mm diameter atomizer, I realised that I hadn't really got any 22mm diameter mods to put it on. So when the Chameleon 18650 mod came up on the UKV classifieds, I grabbed it, and I'm very glad that I did. It complements the Fugatti very well indeed. They work brilliantly together, and it's probably my most used mod at the moment. Also in December though, I was sent by Daz at Safer Cigs the Robust, the L-Rider Robust, which is a budget and very small variable voltage mod. Takes a 14500 battery and looks absolutely excellent with the GG Penelope, as you can see there. And that brings us pretty much up to date, December 2012. I hope you enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed putting it all together and having a little wander down memory lane. It's been quite an eventful year. Looking back at what we all thought was new, Carto punches and things like that in January, it seems like a long time ago now. And some of the things that have gone on and the things that we crammed into 2012 have made it a great year for me, and I think a great year for vaping. We've got a lot of challenges coming in 2013. VTTV and Dave's Tackle Box will be keeping a close eye on that stuff and doing what we can. But as far as VTTV is concerned, I just want to say thank you to Dougie, thank you to Tim Bonyface, thank you to Kat, thank you to Dave Dawn and the rest of the VTTV team. A lot of work goes into getting these shows out. I'm not sure how many we've done, but I must have done about 45 shows this year, and I couldn't do it all on my own. And I just want to say thanks to you guys as well for watching and encouraging us to keep going. I'm looking forward to 2013. Until then, thanks for watching. And that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show as well. I just want to say, I know I just said thank you to everybody for watching, but especially tonight when we put down every technical obstacle possible to stop people watching the show live with all these DNS issues. It's great to see that so many people found a way. I'm looking now, and in excess of, well, there's 35 people watching now who managed to find a way even though the site is down and all the rest of it. For those of you watching this on catch up who wanted to watch it live, I apologise. We'll try not to do it again. So from me, from 2012, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Good night.